Well, Rose McGowan, the president of SVP, made it very clear to me that if these cost of living measures are scaled back, there will be a cascading effect on some of the most disadvantaged families in this country. For example, without the electricity credit, you will have less money to spend on food, healthcare and education. And if you're already so strapped for cash, it'll end up being even tighter. In its pre-budget submission today, the charity made it very clear that if one of these cost of living measures are dropped, they should be replaced with a targeted measure to support the most vulnerable in our society. It gave an example. So in the last budget, a double child benefit was paid twice after budget 2025. They say if that's not going to take place this year, instead they should raise the child allowance to 15 or by €15 for older children, because in their research they found that this group is one of those who experience the highest level of poverty. Rose McGowan made it clear too that even as we face uncertainty economically, the government still has a responsibility to look after the poor.
It's not always about food, but food is the thing that people cut back on at the end. And particularly we see parents and mothers, like I've gone into houses where I've said, "Are you all right?" Where I would know the person and she'd say, "Oh yeah." And, you'd kind of, through conversation, you'd realise she hasn't had a dinner, like she has fed her children. And it's the most natural thing for a parent to look after their child, and they're going without themselves.
Now, St Vincent De Paul is expecting to get 250,000 calls this year, and they've identified three groups that are experiencing particularly high levels of poverty. As I said, is the older teenagers. There are adults who are living alone, and people with disabilities. To combat that, they're looking for a rise in the living alone allowance and the introduction of a cost of disability allowance of €55 per week. Now, there are 19 recommendations in all in this submission, which also include introducing a homeless prevention budget, increase the fuel allowance and increase core social welfare by 2% overall. In all, there's a huge demand for their services, and they're asking the government to meet them halfway.